Hi everyone, this is Izrio here once again on Windows 95, and today we're continuing our journey. We're going through the lab, but before we do, I wanted to mention that after doing the quest and library in Act 3 for Siosa, we now have access to like 98% of the skill gems in the game, so take it all in. Yeah, it's beautiful. Problem though is the cost of these beauties. Buying the rest of the skill gems that you don't already have in your possession require way too much grinding, so you are off the hook this time. No, you don't have to spend 10 hours grinding to get the 50 chance orbs and like 80 alteration orbs to buy all them beauties. Hopefully by now you have at least 1 or 2 skills that you are using, that you are enjoying, or at least are content with. That being said, if you got some spare currency, why not treat yourself to something new, something exotic, something you haven't seen before. GGG laid it out pretty alright on this one. The first tab of each color are skill gems, and the second tab of each color are the support gems. You can check the tag of the skill gem at the top, right below its name. I have only found red links in my gear so far, therefore, I have only been putting in red support gems into my 2 skill gems that I actively use. The Totem and the Molten Strike, because so far I haven't had access to other colors in said linked gear. Otherwise I would, for example, if I had a red green links, I would use faster attack support gem instead of added fire that I'm using now. So we are limited by the socket colors and links. I didn't want to confuse you into thinking you are forced to use only red support gems with red skills gems. Blue with blue, and green with green. You can mix and match as long as you have the colors and the links. I could use chromatic orbs to change my colors of sockets, but I'm too lazy and no need right now. The socket colors are directly correlated to what the base stat requirement for that item is. Meaning, if I have an item that is evasion based and requires dexterity, most likely it will come with green sockets. Strength will have red sockets, and intelligence will have blue sockets. That is why I won't attempt to recolor the boots you are about to see in a bit, even though they are 4-linked. They are evasion based, and I want at least 3 red sockets, which, as I mentioned, trying to get on a non-strength based item is a pain. I could burn through 100 or 200 chromatics before I might see 3 red sockets, so I chose not to. Now look at that, I didn't find 1 or 2, nay, I found 3 4-linked items. Grats me. Yeah, thank you. Too bad I won't be using any of them. I like dual wielding because it gives us attack speed bonus, as well as the one-handed weapons being typically faster, but I thought why not try to show the essence craftins these items. I happened to stumble upon 2 of them essence monsters, so I decided to slay them and get their life force in the form of essence. Anyways, essence crafting. You are basically guaranteed the mod it states on the essence. Honestly, not a bad outcome. The thing is that each link gives you potentially a massive boost in damage. But I think I'm going to hold off on using either one of these weapons because I'm happy with my current weapons and setup. Holding Alt allows you to see affixed here and separates the prefixes and suffixes for you. Oh yeah, one of the best leveling rings you can find, the Praxis, which has -2 mana cost of skills. Nice, lucky, much wow. Right now, my main setup is Molten Strike, Ancestral Call, and added Fire. I have my Vitality Aura, Anger Aura, which gives us damage, and Herald of Ash. I'm basically transitioning into all fire-based Molten Lava Monster-esque Barbarian Marauder guy dude, yeah. Also got the Flammability Curse to lower the enemy's fire resistances, and the Flame Dash skill to move around quicker. All this and more shall be shown off to thee in just a minute when I attempt to do the lab. Lastly, my passive tree is as follows. As you can see, I got some life nodes and very few damage nodes. Matter of fact, just a handful, but that's because I know what I'm doing, I hope. Are you trying to convince me or yourself, Papa Z? A little bit of both. I'm also converting 100% of my Molten Strike physical damage into fire damage through the Fire Mastery. It's only 40%, but the skill itself converts 60. Bam! Math. Not only to be thematical, but also the Flammability Curse will help us do more damage if all or most of our damage is fire, because again, it lowers the enemy's fire resistances, so yeah, you got it, you got it. Alright, time to do the old Labaruski. Typically, when I reached Crystal Veins in Act 4 is when I attempted the lab. You should be doing it when you have more life and more levels and damage and defense and resistances and all of it than me. Alright, so as you can see, there's going to be 4 labs that you're going to have to go through, unfortunately. But each one is going to give you a sweet, sweet upgrade in utility, damage, defense, something for your character. You will be able to choose from 3 different ascendancies for your character class, unless you're a scion, but don't worry about that one. Here, I'm going to appear to make it look like I know what I'm doing, but I don't. I'm just winging it. Typically, I just choose a path and I just go for it. There's going to be a bunch of random monsters, of course. There's going to be spikes and traps that are going to try to take your life. So having 2 life potions is a good idea. Maybe get 3. Now, note, I think I haven't seen this footage in a couple of days because I'm sort of doing this weird thing where I'm playing, recording, and doing the video thing later. But I think I'm going to show off my defenses and stuff later. So compare notes, because if you're not remotely close to where I'm at with my life, resistances, defenses, and maybe even damage, then definitely do not attempt this Labos. Yeah. Not to brag, but I have completed the campaign in under 20 hours before. Wow, yeah. Just blew your mind, didn't I? So here, you can click on the current location before you click the next door. Oh, and here, before you move on, remember, exclamation point, good, crafting, right here. You don't see it on my screen because I already took it, but you take it. Go ahead. And wow, look at that. I'm going to put my raid support back in and try to mess up this Izario fella. He, of course, is going to try to kill me, but you know what? I got my totem, I got my flammability curse, I got my raid stacks, and we're doing a little bit of damage. Am I doing a good job dodging his attacks? No, not really. But since I've taken quite a bit of life nodes and defenses on the tree, and because of my gear, I have good amount of armor. So he doesn't do that much damage to me. But trust me, if you're not prepared, he hurts. He does a lot of damage, so be careful. I think later on I will be showing my defensive stats and whatnot, and my level. I think I'm level 33, but we'll see. We'll confirm here in a minute. I'm just winging it, guys. I don't know what I'm saying. Alright, moving through. We just checked the tablet, and it looks like there's a fork with 2 paths. That's a weird fork. But anyway, we're moving on. I'm clicking a bunch of buttons. I don't know what I'm doing. Running through the traps because, just because I want to. You can sometimes find these random chests, and they'll have, they're like green or whatever, and they will have what looks like a quest item, but it's an item that will help you kill Izario faster, or it will make it so he does less damage, or something. I have never, after 9 years of playing this game, I have never actually learned the phases of this boss and how he powers up and what he does. So I just wing it every time. I just go in there and I just try to dodge the best as I can and try to do as much damage as I can, and that's it. If you actually want to learn what to do, this is probably not the best video, but yeah. Dodge his attacks is my recommendation, and make sure you have a ton of life. This lab, being level 33, normal lab, is fairly easy and fairly narrow pathed. So you can't really get lost, but typically, if it's looking like it's gonna keep going, the path that is, you're on the right track. If it's going off to the side, well, you might not want to take it. Until later on when you have a golden key, which you have to, yeah, we'll get to that in later labs. Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the golden key. Forget I said anything. You didn't hear anything. Alright, moving on to second phase. Basically, every time you do X amount of damage, like 30% of his health, he's dead. He's gonna move on. Sometimes he keeps attacking for 15 more minutes. Just avoid him. But anyway, I want to say not all characters are created equal. Range and spellcaster typically don't have to be so tanky because they can kill stuff off screen, so they have some advantage of that, but they can still die easily. So if I was ranged, for example, I would be nowhere near as close to him as I am now. Some of the things you may have already encountered are the temporary ailments such as bleed, poison, ignite, poison again. Maybe you've been frozen a couple of times and you're like, Papa Z, this sucks, man. I hate being frozen in place, can't do anything. Well, if you have some spare alterations, or maybe you were lucky enough to find a flask, you can get a lot of these immunities on a flask. So typically in the beginning, when I'm leveling, I try to get at least one flask with freeze immunity and one flask with bleed immunity. Those are the biggest two while leveling. Later on, as we get through the higher level acts, and especially mapping the end game, you might want to consider all three. All four. Ignite, poison, bleed, and freeze. Yeah. But we'll go into that more later. I also wanted to mention a couple of things. So notice that I'm not really grabbing any items anymore. I don't really need them, but white items don't sell for much, as you may have noticed. So unless it's a 4-link item or an item you plan to craft on, don't even bother picking it up. Also, about the lab, I may make it look easy, but it's really not. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. If you don't have like 1500 life and some like 30-40% physical damage reduction and you know decent damage, don't even attempt the lab, because you can't portal out. That's one thing I forgot to mention. You can't just leave halfway through and come back via portal. Once you leave, you have to do the lab all over again. Like it sucks, and it doesn't tell you that. I don't think. I don't know. I don't read. So be sure you can take on. Maybe do it after you completed Act 4 or halfway through Act 5. Trust your gut. Trust your instinct. If you think you're ready, try it. If not, forget about it. Live to see another day, my friend. And then here we are at the last phase of Izario. As you can see, he hurts, and as you may have seen, he has a massive army of general people, guardian things, and they only get worse and tougher. So don't be like me. Make sure you kill all those peoples. When you kill Izario for the last time, he'll drop keys, 1, 2, or 3, sometimes 0. That's also based on a few different factors that I'm not going to get into, but typically the chests don't drop too much. I mean, I guess when you're new, they do. So I got some cool orbs, so that was nice. But if you only get one key and you open a chest and you get nothing, don't worry about it. And when you reach the divine font, you can actually enchant your items. In the first lab, you'll only be able to enchant your gloves, typically with something minorly useful. Not really, I never enchant my gloves, but you can. Sometimes they have some cool, neat interactions. Sometimes they can be useful. I seriously haven't enchanted my gloves in 4 years. You can. Maybe it'll be fun for you. Later on in the other labs, you can enchant your boots and helm, which are pretty cool. But I will go into those things later. Yeah. The boots and helm enchants are actually quite useful and good. So it's just the gloves that are kind of whatever. And this is more of a side thing anyway. We're here mainly for the Ascendency. Wow, Altar of Ascendency. So here, because I'm a Marauder, can choose from 3 different Ascendancies. Each one has its own unique nodes that give you damage, defense, life stuffs, all kinds of good stuffs. I know what I'm going to be doing with this character. It's going to be a homebrew, weird poison fire thing, which I don't recommend you following, but don't worry about that for now. I'm also going to pick up the Undeniable Ascendency node, which is going to give me a lot more damage because it gives me accuracy and attack speed. So if you've did your labyrinth, congratulations. Good job. Well done. Oh yeah, and here are my defensive stats. So you can see my resistances are at 40. Not bad at this stage of the game. And my armor is 1400. Also not bad. The estimated physical damage reduction is just what it sounds like. Estimate. At level 34, my armor gives me 77% physical damage reduction, but if we were to go to a level 70 area, this would be like 1% physical damage reduction. So just know the estimate scales with your level. Same goes for evasion rating. Alright, that's gonna do it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with another beautiful video.